additional things that we need to add in or take away from it?
I've listened to the various interventions across various areas that you have talked about. But there is a certain contradiction that I think maybe you will help explain to our people, which is about your government's program with regard to urban regeneration or urban renewal. Some people say, in terms of their reaction, that those programs that they have seen look like an assault, one, against the poor. All this clearing of under bridges, all this closure of business places, at a time when inflation is over 30%. And then the demolition of houses and some structures that some people say will seem to be targeted against non-indigenous. So these two issues. Because some will say, yes, these interventions, but,
Thank you very much, Ruben. Just to also reemphasize, the building that collapsed this morning, right, I'm sure it's not an indigent issue. A real building actually collapsed. Thankfully, there are no fatality. But if people were there, that's the end of it. No stories. A building actually collapsed this morning. So we're not being emotional. We're being factual. A fire incident actually occurred 3 weeks ago. It's an 18-story building that changed the livelihood of a lot of people because of the carelessness of some people. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has to do with we ensuring that, one, we can put off the fire in respect of who or where you come from, have the capacity to respond to that call when it happens, but more importantly, create a space where it doesn't repeat itself again. So after it happened in Lagos Island, and my last part people went to now clear the entire store on that right of way to ensure that any tall building in the event, because that's why I talk, you don't know when these things are going to happen. So you don't wait and phone and say, when this happens. No. Clearing those roads now, we're not asking who owns this shop, where are you from, which village did you emerge from. You have contravened our planning rule. You have obstructed, government from doing their work. So we have to reverse back to the original plan that we gave you to build. That has no measure of sympathy or emotion at all. It is part of what is done globally to rate livability standards of cities, reliability, sustainability of cities. By the way, Ruben, they made us 18th position globally early this year by Time Out, that Lagos is one of the preferred cities to stay in the world. That just didn't happen by we sitting back and not doing the right thing. The right thing to be done, right, are difficult things sometimes. They are the things that will appear as if it's not very popular, but it's to keep, the city safe for all of us. The greatest good is for the greatest number. It is not about the face of who the person is, but it's about ensuring that we live, because rule of law is one thing that we cannot, compromise anyhow. When people, I mentioned it when you said to me that I should rate my 4 years. I told you that people were walking on river. They say, come and see Sanwo-Olu. This is River Lekki. We're on boat. Those are the things that happen. People deliberately built on the right of way for drainage canal. Lagos is below the sea level. So those waters have to go. They are like flash. They have to go, come back from, and go back again. That was all we did. Let me tell you, there are some officers of government, officers of this government, that their houses went down. Their houses, they wrote that there's nothing, it has to go. We are not taking your house. If it's only one room that we need to take, we're not out to take the entire 4-bedroom. If it's only one room that contravenes, we'll leave the remaining 3 rooms. You can reconstruct and come back to your 3 rooms. But the ones that is on our line, we will take it, and we don't have, because we just need to be able to rescue the city. If not only will we be doing this country a disservice, this is the melting point of our country. It controls 65% of international traffic. So we need to continue to ensure that we have that, not just in name, in our response, in our ability to keep the city. We went around clearing, saw what we took away from Ijora, Obalende, and the rest of it. We've done a massive rail infrastructure. Underneath that rail, you see people on government spaces, and these are the kind of things that we see with traffic robbery. Some of them, come up and come and rob people on a co-bridge. Ruben, last year, under the bridge of Apongbo, there was a fire incident. It shut down that bridge for 9 months. We cannot, no government will fold their arms and let that kind of a thing happen. For 9 months, killed economic activity and the rest of it. So for us to go back and clear it is for us to do it over and over and again, and for people to know that under the bridges, and these are we cannot even have money to build those infrastructures again. We don't. So we have to protect what we have to ensure that these buildings can last 100 years, 120 years. So we will not, in fact, we've just started, but what I can assure you is that nobody will unwillingly be attacked by virtue of race, gender, color, ethnicity. That I can put on the table and say that, please, if you know of any, I will be the first that will apologize in the event of such thing happen, but we will make amends, immediately. We will never allow things like that to determine who we are and how we govern the space. But it is really for all of us to understand that we're all cohabiting here, and we need to jointly respect, the rules, of our cohabitation. That's all we're about, and that's what we're trying to do.
So Mr. Governor, this measure that sounds reactive maybe is speaking to systemic failure. And I mean,